Welcome to the Behind the Drapes podcast. I'm your host, Expo Rich. We are here recording at the SISO CEO Summit here in Kiawah Island. I have the pleasure of having Marsha Flanagan, the CEO and President of IAEE, with me today. Thank you for joining me.
Gosh, thanks for having me.
We've been, I'm excited to have you on because I've been performing my podcast at your show for many years.
We were just talking about that.
So it's kind of full circle to have you on. And I'm glad you had time to sit with me because I'm sure during Expo you wouldn't have the time.
It's a little crazy, but I would love to do that in the future.
So for sure. So I started this format to really, I wanted to showcase the people that are making this magic happen, because it really is magic in our industry when we create marketplace that so much commerce happens. Mm-hmm. You know, you have companies that are launching that are like literally having their come up because of a trade show,
true.
You know, and products that are coming to industry. So, and there's people behind it that never get their flowers. So that's why I like to talk about it. And Expo being one of those specifically for us. And so before we get into the now, I always like to get into the origin story.
Sure.
So how did you come about getting into the industry?
Great question. I actually have a graduate degree in event management. So
one of the few.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
But that's not how. It wasn't quite that easy, I guess you should say. My undergraduate degree is in education, taught school for a hot second, went back to grad school, education, but I had a stint in law school.
Okay.
And so didn't like law school at all. So I had to come up with a plan to tell my parents.
You weren't going to be a lawyer?
Right, I wasn't going to be a lawyer. So then they're like, so what's an event planner? What, you're going to plan parties and not be a lawyer?
Wedding planner.
That didn't go over so well. But fast forward, my parents are super proud and have traveled around with me, and they get it. But I had to do an internship in 3 areas: meetings, recreation, and tourism.
Okay.
So I worked for a DMO.
Okay.
I worked for a state park, and then I worked for MPI. And so I worked for MPI for 15 years. So that's how I got started in the industry.
Yeah. So that's like very, very industry adjacent to Expo for sure. Yeah. So, well, that's great. And so throughout that journey, you know, I always like to say that people in leadership got there, you know, intentionally because they had people pull them along the way. You know, who are some of the people that really influenced you and helped you along the way to build you up?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I've been so fortunate. I mean, this industry has just been a blessing to me, that it's very important that I am able to talk to the next generation about how it's a true industry of choice. It can be. I mean, it's not a happenstance. You can make a difference. But I look back, I mean, I worked for Freeman, and Mr. Freeman was still there.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just name so many great leaders, associations. Back in the day, I mean, they were just led by great people.
So you're pretty fortunate to have lots of them.
Oh my gosh. It's 30 plus years now, I'm seeing the next generation come through, which is really, I think, even more exciting.
Yeah.
So
and the things that this next generation has to deal with everything moving so much faster, and you know, we're going from you know, when I started, you know, 26 years ago, it was, you know, dealing with faxes and you know, that's how orders got around. So to now, you know,
stuffing the attendee bags with the res materials and everything.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's lightning speed now because, you know, we've evolved with it, and they're coming in, you know, boots on the ground, running 90 miles an hour. So yeah. So for Expo, you know, this year, you know, you moved that show around the country. So, you know, now we have a new location. And so what's something that you're really excited about for the end of this year for the next show?
Well, last year we changed the format up a bit. So all of the education was on the show floor. I mean, we really looked at our attendee data, and, you know, we're not a big show. It's really quality, not quantity. I feel.
I agree. Yeah.
So how do we make those conversations more intentional? How can we create purpose on that show floor? And we saw that when the show floor closed down for education. I mean, our exhibitors, I mean, they're just sitting there. Like, what do I do?
I agree the format was better, and I really liked it that, you know, because we were right near that sustainability pavilion, and it was a lot of action there, and it was great. Yeah.
I know that exhibitors feel like at times when education fires up, it gets slow.
Right.
But you don't have to shut down. And I mean, for me, I'm kind of like a session surfer when I go to events.
Right.
So there may not be something for me. So now I have a chance to go and talk to an exhibitor.
Instead of being removed off the show floor, you're there.
Right.
So, yeah.
So we kept everyone together. We're going to continue that. I think at least. We said, let's try it 2 years, at least 3, until we, you know, if we outgrow it. But the sustainability sanctuary was very popular. We definitely want to.
I got to give you kudos for, you know, partnering with Zenus to get the data to then do those changes. You know, we're a partner with Zenus as well, and you know, Panos and I had some conversations specifically about the show and the changes because of, like, you know, looking at the flow and everything. So it was great that you guys were on the forefront of using that technology to change your show for the better. So.
Well, we're really trying to take that data and deliver it back to the exhibitors. It takes a lot of work, right? I mean, a show's over, you're on to the next, but it's like, no, if we're going to keep this 365 momentum with exhibitors, attendees, it has to be data driven.
Yeah.
And there was some really great information in the Zenus report.
Yeah, for sure.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So, you know, this is another, you know, obviously a much smaller, more intimate event in SISO. What's some of the value that you find coming to SISO that for you and your career?
Well, I mean, independence they're a big part of our attendee organizer mix, and SISO is such a great opportunity for them to get together in a private, you know, location where they can have those conversations separate from a bigger ecosystem, right? I think it's super important to be there. And so, but for me to hear what the independents are you know, talking about mergers and acquisitions, obviously that's a big play in our space, but it's just keeping in touch with everyone, and such a different feel from the association market and those association planners.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your time with me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your conference.
Yeah, thank you so much.